Saints, I am so happy that you have joined us and so happy that you join us every Tuesday. There is a very much a faithful group of Christ seekers that join us every Tuesday as well as on Saturday afternoons for church. Our dear daughter is away visiting a friend out of town, visiting a dear sister, a faithful friend of ours, of the family. She's out of town, therefore she's not here. And I have an exhortation for you. I want to edify you this evening. I want to build you up. I want to encourage you. One of the things that I love about our church is that nobody's walking around claiming to have it all together. Nobody's walking around as spiritual giants. And that's a real blessing because we're all a work in progress. I want to share with you what is probably my biggest struggle, my biggest area of wrestling. That is patience. Patience. Am I alone? Anybody else struggle with just patience? We can be impatient. I can be impatient. Nowhere is that impatience more seen in my own life than in my spiritual development. I'm the most impatient as it relates to my own spiritual development. So I'm the most impatient with myself. I try to be patient with other people, patient with my family. I try by the Lord, with the Lord's help and by the Lord's Spirit, to be patient with others. But with myself, I'm very impatient. And as it relates to my spiritual growth, I am the most impatient. I want to be sanctified yesterday. I want to grow in holiness yesteryear. I want to be spiritually mature quickly. And this is what I have found, not just in my life, but in the life of other believers, sincere believers, honest believers. Again, we're honest people. One of the other things I love about Abide is we're open and we're honest people. That's a beautiful thing when we can just be transparent with one another and ask for prayer. You can pray for me in this area of being impatient with my own spiritual development. And maybe that's you as well. Maybe I'm speaking to you. Maybe this is an area of your life where you say, why don't I grow quicker? Why don't I get it quicker? Why don't I have more faith? Why do I doubt? Why do I teeter-totter? Those are the type of things that I want to grow in. And I want to grow like miracle grow. Just plant it and boom. Like a chia pet. Do you remember the chia pet? Some of you, right? It was like one of these famous Christmas gifts where you just put a little water and overnight the chia pet. I want to be like a spiritual chia pet. Add water, poof, mature. Add water, poof, sanctified in holiness, etc. But this is what I find in the scriptures. This is what I find in the life of other believers. This is what I find the people in the Bible. Everyone. Abraham. Let's just take one person, Abraham. God calls Abraham from Ur of the Chaldeans. He's an idol worshiping heathen. Does he this quick? Does he that fast? Overnight? Is he on the mount sacrificing his son Isaac? Oh no. Decades go by. And we see Abraham falter in faith. We see Abraham growing and maturing throughout decades of time. And I find in the scriptures, both in the Old and New Testament, Peter the apostle, in the New Testament, it takes him a lot of tries. It's a lot of growth that has to happen in this man. 10 years after Jesus ascended into heaven, he still hasn't preached to one Gentile. And Jesus says, take the gospel to the outermost parts of the earth. That means to the Gentiles. The gospel is for everybody, Peter. And Peter's dragging his feet for one reason or another. And he walked with Jesus. He saw Jesus. He saw the miracles. And so throughout the scriptures, you look at anyone's life, and there's a process called sanctification. And we're all in that sanctifying process, growing in holiness. I just wish it were quicker. At least for me in my own life, I wish it was quicker. Sometimes my life, I gotta tell you, my wife found today the perfect illustration. I asked her for something and she found it. She is a faithful bride, an amazing woman. Sometimes my life looks like this. Can you see that I'm gonna bring it closer. Do you see what that is? Sometimes that's what my life looks like. What is that? That's a hot mess. That's how I feel in the process of sanctification. That's how I often feel like, why don't I get it? Why am I stunted? What's the difficulty? What's the deal? I see the Bible, I read the Bible, I study the Bible, I teach the Bible. And I know it's there, but why isn't it working in my life? Why is it taking such a long time for me to come to the fruit of this verse? But again, sanctification, this is the exhortation. God is not finished, okay? This is what your life may look like right now, right? But here's the exhortation. Here's where I want to lift you up and build you up. God is not finished. Sanctification is a process, and it takes years. Joseph, another example, Joseph. It's well over a decade. I think it's 15 years. I once did a study on just how long it took for God to fulfill his promise in a person's life, or for God to bring the person that he intended to the place that he intended. Like, for instance, Joseph to reign over Egypt. It took, I believe it was 15 years, if my memory serves me correctly. A long time. And in between that time, there's sanctification. There are things that Joseph needs to learn, and he's not going to learn them in his father's house. His brothers have to betray him. That's how he's going to get to Egypt. And then Mrs. Potiphar has to drop a dime on him. That's how he's going to get to the butler and the baker, because they're in jail. He has to be there. And I'm sure that in the process he had many questions, although none are recorded except for one or two. But there's questions. And there's like, Lord, what are you doing? And sanctification is hard and it takes time. We don't just chia pet this thing. It takes time. God is developing you for where you're going, and that's going to take time, because when you get there, you need to have some things built into you. And God's going to do those things. God's going to perfect you. God's going to mature you. That word perfection is mature you. Not that you're going to be made perfect and you're going to be completely holy. That won't happen until we're in our glorified bodies in heaven. But God is going to sanctify you. He's going to bring you closer to holiness. That's his work in you. And my dear friend, it takes, listen to me close, it takes spiritual patience. Let the Lord have his way. Your life may look like this right now, or at least in your eyes it may look like that. David is another one. Look at David's life. I mean, this kid's minding his own business. He's tending his father's sheep in the field somewhere, out in the woods, right? Minding his own business. Samuel comes. He's looking to anoint a new king that God has called. And it happens to be the son of Jesse, the one that he's forgotten about. Jesse, his father, doesn't even oh yeah, that's right, I got one more son. We keep him out there with the sheep. He's tending sheep, and Samuel says, I'm not going to rest until you bring him to me. He's anointed king of Israel. Then he slays a giant. Then there's a song about him. These damsels, as they're coming in from a great victory, they're singing, Saul has slain his thousands, David his tens of thousands. This song is a nightmare song for him. It gets Saul, this deranged man, now he's chasing David around. This is David's life now. He's being chased around by a madman. And I say, this is God's process of sanctifying David. This is God's process of teaching David to depend on the Lord for protection, to depend on the Lord for provision, to trust in the Lord, to believe his promises, to receive them by faith. Is David perfect? No, not at all. David fails. We see moments of failures. There are times where David's life looks exactly like this. Exactly like your life and my life. Patience, spiritual patience. We need spiritual patience, especially as it relates to ourselves, right? Moses, 4 decades in the backside of the desert. Talk about sanctification. Talk about God producing something in a man. God had to strip this man who was learned in all the way of the Egyptians. He was military excellence. He was, I'm sure, maybe an orator. I mean, he was the prince of Egypt. He was the son of the Pharaoh's daughter, high ranking. And he tried to fulfill God's purpose and plan for his life because he knew that he wasn't an Egyptian. And he tried to fulfill the plan and purpose in his life in the power of the flesh and the effort of the flesh. He slays an Egyptian. Now he's on the run, 40 years backside of the desert. But God's stripping him of his own intelligence, of his own will, of his own power, of his own self-dependence and self-sufficiency. And now when God comes to him in the form of a burning bush, he's done. Don't send me. You got the wrong guy. Oh, but the wrong guy is the right guy when that guy is depending solely upon the Lord. Sanctification is a process. Do not be impatient. Look, this is why this is so perfect. Because on this side it's a mess. To the visible eye on this side is a mess. Sometimes worse, your life just looks like this. Just darkness. Just sheer, like, I don't even know up from down. I don't know I don't know left or right. I don't know anything. It's just, right now it's just dark. But notice here, I'm telling you, my bride, I don't know where she pulled this from, but it is perfect for this illustration. Look, what I'm about to share with you, you can trust the Lord, you can walk with the Lord, because, listen close, the Lord is my shepherd. Do you see that? Oh man, it's so good. Your life may be bleak or dark. You may be impatient with your spiritual progress. Welcome to the club, so am I. Your life may look like the flip side of this, like that. But be of good courage. Be encouraged tonight. Listen, God is working. He is your shepherd. He who has begun a good work in you will complete it. You are not where you need to be, maybe in your estimation, but you are in the process. You are in progress. You're a work in progress. We all are. That's one of the beautiful things about Abide is we are all a work in progress. There's no big I's and little U's. No, we're all depending on the shepherd. We're all following the great shepherd. We're all being transformed into the likeness of our King, of our Savior, Jesus Christ. So I wanted to encourage you today, because if you're anything like me, and perhaps this is one of your struggles as well, we can be very impatient as it relates to our spiritual development. I feel that I should be a lot further along for the years that I've been walking with the Lord. But the Lord says, Johnny, you're exactly where I want you to be. You're mine. The work of sanctification is my work, not your work. In every season in your life, there's a purpose. And yes, to you it may look like a hot mess, but I know what I'm doing. I'm the potter. You are the clay. Let me mold your life. Let me work in your life. Let me work the things out of your life that need to be worked out. But it takes time. Saints, listen, it takes time. He is not done yet. Be patient. Trust the Lord. Follow the Good Shepherd. That's my exhortation to you this evening. I pray that the rest of this week you would meditate on that. Sanctification takes time. God is not done. And His work will be done in your life perfectly, according to His timing, His will, His purpose, His way, and His word. May the Lord richly bless you this week. And I look forward to sharing in communion with you. Let me give you this announcement. This coming Saturday, we are having communion. Our dear, wonderful brother, Ted, is going to share the communion message. And we are going to enjoy an agape dinner, a feast. We try to do this every time we have communion. This time around, we're going to have a pizza extravaganza. There's a place called Veritas. They serve amazing pizza. They make a good pie, y'all. There's gluten-free options for pizza as well as we'll have salad. So for those of you that want to have salad, there'll be salad available for you as well. May the Lord richly bless you this week as you walk with Him. And we're going to have salad. And what was the other thing? Macaronis? Something? So saints, we're having something like a salad and something like a something.
It was going so great, so just say, and we'll have salads.
Okay. And we'll have salads. 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 And we'll have salads. I thought this was a done deal. Like, I kept hearing salads.
Yeah. I don't know why Mom's questioning it now. This whole time
Okay.
you said salad. You said gluten-free options.
And we'll have salads. How do I say it?
If you're gonna say, and we'll have salad, say something after, like, we'd love to see you come and join us. That'll
Okay.
be a blessing.
And we'll have salads, and we would love to come and see you. Come and join us.
No.
Woo-wee!
Come on.
So we're going to have a pizza extravaganza, as well as we'll have salad. So for those of you that want to have salad, there'll be salad available for you as well. May the Lord richly bless you as you walk with Him this week.